start? Shall I do it like I'll introduce him first, or shall I do the timer first, or what shall I do? What do you think?
I don't know.
Okay. What do you think? What would you prefer?
Just organically go with your...
Organically
See what happens.
Organically? That boy belongs in LA. Right, okay. So, and this is Anne. She's not coming in screen, but you could go, like, do the back of your head. Come and do the back of your head. Just stand there, do your back. Come here.
Who's
Are you serious? I'm serious. You don't have to show your face. Just do the back of your head. Come on. Because otherwise people will think I'm talking to just nobody, right? This is Anne. So you might hear her. She was going to be in the podcast, but instead she's going to sit over there eating Oreo cookies.
That's right.
Okay. See you later, Anne. Right, I put the timer on. Okay, I'm about to... Did I embarrass you? I've only just met her. It's awesome. Right, okay. So I've started my timer. 20 minutes, right? Hello. See, I did it again. I sound surprised. I don't know why I sound surprised. Because well, do you know what I mean? Because I know it's going to start, but every time it starts, I go, oh, hello. And I don't, it's horrible.
It was natural.
Anyway, right, pretend, you got to pretend, don't keep saying organic, right? You've got to pretend that this, we're on a two-shot, right? But you pretend that I'm on a single at the moment, right? Because I'm going to introduce you.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Okay.
So you pretend you're not here.
Off stage energy.
Right, off stage, right, okay. But no niminy piminies or anything, okay. No chatting, right?
Yeah.
So, me. So hiya, welcome back to 20 Minutes Till Pick Up. We're doing an extra special one because we weren't really expecting to do this one, were we? No. But my co-host today just appeared at my door, which is awesome because he's friends of friends of mine, and I think he is newly friends of mine because I like him. And I do like you, yeah, but you're not in shot yet. Stop.
Oh, sorry.
Right? Don't talk. So, if you're in Scotland, you would know him already because he's been doing an amazing thing, and also he has been a familiar face on Scottish TV screens. Please welcome as my co-host, Matthew McVarish.
Oh, hello.
Hello, see you. Woo! And be enthusiastic, sweetheart.
Woo!
Thank you. There you go. So, welcome. What a surprise.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Well, I've not had you yet, but there's always time.
Yeah, I know, the night is young.
So creepy old lady. Do you know he was born in, what, 1983?
Yeah, March 83.
1983.
Oh, stop this now.
I know, right? I have shoes older than that. I am horrified. 1983.
Yeah. 9 months after the Pope's visit. Exactly 9 months.
Oh, really?
It was a good day for my mum and dad. There's like a whole class of people the same age. Like,
really? Born with the same day?
Most of them called John and Paul, you know? So, yeah.
But Matthew, how many are there in your family?
Someone finished high school then? Wow.
I'm interviewing.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot this.
I'm the youngest of 7. So, yeah. Irish Catholics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often did the Pope visit then?
I know, right?
Right?
We had a broken TV. Yeah. So, I grew up in East Kilbride, you know, with the likes of Lorraine Kelly and Ali McCoist, John Hannah, all the greats.
Ah.
And
you wouldn't have gone to school with any of them though, because they're all much older than you.
No. Ali McCoist went to Hunter. I think Julie Nimmo, who's married to Greg Hempel, she's from East Kilbride.
Oh, I
think
love
she
it.
went to the same
EK-OK, that's a slogan for East Kilbride, isn't it? EK-OK.
It was a movie, I think. In the 90s or 80s, it was filmed. It was about a boxer going to London and something.
That was just a copy of Gregory's Girl, wasn't it? Which is Cumbernauld, where I'm from. We had the Gregory's Girl with the football, right?
And that woman, Claire
Grogan.
Grogan, there you go.
Claire Grogan, yeah. I wonder whatever happened to her.
I know what that is, but I know what that is, but I've never seen it.
You've never seen Gregory's Girl?
I know. Am I going to get like banned from this podcast?
No, I'm kind of shocked. I don't know that I've met someone as young as him before that's not been actually technically at school. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Technically, I think you might be the youngest person I know. Except, how old was Declan? He was only about 12, right?
He's only 21. I think he's only just become 21.
Yeah, do you know Declan, Michael Laird? Declan?
Oh, that wee guy, yeah, I did me on Facebook. Yeah, he's out here, yeah.
He is, he did the podcast, number 3 maybe? Number 2, number 3.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you just turned up on my doorstep today. Yes, courtesy of Jenny Godley.
And Ashley
Story.
Young men seem to be turning up in your doorstep quite a lot.
I know. Handsome and wearing kilts as well. We're going to have to do a shot of you in the kilt later on for the ladies and several gentlemen too. So, what are you doing in America, my sweet?
April is Child Abuse Prevention Month in the United States, so I'm kind of cutting about the place. I was over in Texas staying with, it's called Not On Our Watch American Foundation, with Rhonda Fox, who runs that. We were just chilling out. She's joined the board of my new organisation called Raphael International Foundation, which is going to be based in New York. Today I'm in LA. I just did a podcast called the Mental Illness Happy Hour with Paul Gilmartin, and yesterday I was in New Mexico hanging out with my mate he was on Oprah. He's a survivor, he's written novels and stuff about that. So I'm just cutting about doing a lot of advocacy work, and tomorrow I'm singing at a concert in Houston for Child Sexual Abuse Prevention kind of day.
I guess, you know, the thing is, because we're so disorganised and everything, I haven't really explained what, like, because I knew Matty as an actor, right? But then you started this whole new vision of things you wanted to do, so you should probably say what it is, because I will just screw it up.
It kind of grew out of my acting work. Like, I'm in kids TV in the UK, I do theatre and TV and stuff, but I was abused by an uncle, and in 2007 I wrote a play about that, and it was performed in Glasgow, and like my brothers came to see it, and that kind of catalysed the discussion in our family, because my uncle was like a school teacher, and he was still in contact with kids, so I put the play on and it kind of got us talking about what was going on, and we pressed charges and he was immediately arrested and put in prison. So at the end of the play we got money from the Scottish Government, we took it to New York, and then we did it across America, and we would do the same kind of model. We would go on stage after the show and I would talk to the audience. We would invite local service providers, no matter what city, like we would invite the local counsellors and stuff on the stage, so the people in the audience, if they were triggered by the story, could then immediately get the local help. So yeah, and then I kind of had this idea that it cost 50 grand to tour a play, but it cost nothing to tour a movie. So we made the film version, and that's kind of touring universities now and stuff. But I thought it'd be really cool if I could show the film in every European city. And but then I thought, how am I going to get the money to do this big film tour? But then I thought, if I walk, then that would attract the media attention. So I just walked to every European capital, and that was successful. So I managed to get on TV and radio, newspapers in like 30 languages, and raised a lot of awareness of the thing that nobody really wants to talk about, and it was cool. So I was walking. I mean, I don't like walking. Walking's really boring and kind of crap. There's lots of wild dogs and shit. Like, I had to get vaccinated for rabies, and you know, it was brutal. But I was walking. It had to be extraordinary, because you need to get that, to do something extraordinary to get the media interested in something like that. But when I got to each city, I knocked on the doors of the governments and parliaments, and I asked them to abolish a law called the Statute of Limitations, which you have here in the US, but they don't have it in Europe. They don't have it in the UK. It's a law that literally stops victims pressing charges.
Right.
So I managed to get 8 countries out of the 29 that I went to begin the discussion of abolishing it. But in June, I'm going back to Strasbourg to present to the Council of Europe, which is like the place where all 47 countries meet. So I only walked around the European Union, but all 47 European countries meet in this one building. And I'm presenting to them to ask them to abolish it right across the whole continent. So that'd be cool.
I might cry. That was the first time I've seen it. I'm like, wow, that's amazing though. What an amazing story and an amazing thing to do.
It was cool. I mean, when I started, like everyone, like my mate Donnie was just like, you know, before I left, he said, just think, you know, this time next month you'll be lying dead in a field with gypsies robbing your corpse.
Nice guy, nice guy. I think I've been drinking with Donnie.
I think, yeah, Donnie, you know Donnie.
I think I have been drinking with him.
So a lot of people thought I was crazy to start it, and I just, you know, I went to 200 companies and tried to get support. Janie Godley was amazing. Like every week on her podcast, she was urging people to donate to the walk. And if you donated £10 to the walk, it would pay for like socks or diesel for the follow van. So I'd walk 30 miles a day, and my follow driver Stig, he would drive 30 miles a day, so I had somewhere to sleep. But it was a really small operation, you know. The British Embassy in every city were really supportive. The British ambassadors walked with me. I got to speak at the United Nations, and I met Pope Francis, and it just grew and grew.
Your mum would have been pleased, right?
Oh, she was well chuffed. I got a kind of unclely vibe off him, you know. There's just some sort of ancient connection there. But yeah, it kind of blew my mind how big it got. And by the time I got home in Scotland, like the First Minister welcomed me home. I got to speak at the Scottish Parliament, and yeah, like I got given an award, and Janie collected it for me, because I was literally walking through a pig field in Portugal. And I had a chest infection.
I've been there too.
And so they wanted me to. It was the Top Scot Award that, you know, not Janie Godley, J.K. Rowling has won it, and Susan Boyle and people like that. So I phoned Janie and asked if she would accept it for me, and because she's so vocal on this issue, and I love that Janie can just literally cut through bullshit and just say what needs to be said in a very concise and brilliant way. So she was the perfect woman for the job, and she went up there at the Glenfiddich Spirit of Scotland Awards. She accepted it for me, and I wish someone filmed what she said, but she basically said, you know, Matthew's walking around Europe encouraging lost change, and he went to 200 companies and nobody's supporting him. But if Roman Polanski wants to make a new movie, he gets instantly millions of investment. And yeah, so it was awesome. So, and Janie Ashley on the podcast supported the whole Road to Change the whole time, and Tom Ury.
Oh, lovely Big Tom.
And he's been amazing. Like, he's my best friend, and he let me live in his house rent free because he was in soap opera, so he didn't really need the rent, you know. And I was living in London, paying like £1,000 a month in rent, trying to set up this walk that I was going to be doing. So I gave up my place in London, moved home for a year, and Tom just let me, you know, even filled the fridge all the time. He never asked me for money. And I worked full time on my own to set up the project for, you know, half a year. And then when it got really close to the walk, an office in Glasgow gave me some space, and another volunteer helped me out, and we just kind of just did it. But Tom's, you know, the whole way through, he's done so many charity events to raise money for the walk, and it's crazy because it costs.
He's proud of you.
Yeah, bless him.
It a lot on the Facebook. Well, it is an amazing thing, though. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's an amazing thing for a normal person, but it's double amazing thing for an actor, frankly. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Because actors are pretty much me, and actually this is not me. No offence to actors, but you know what I'm saying.
Janie, like, they gave me a doctorate, and Janie and Ashley came along and did some comedy at the night, and Deacon Blue played. It was awesome.
Dignity, did they do Dignity?
You did Dignity, and they never do Dignity.
Yeah, but they did it for you because
I know, right?
it's your dignity, right?
So Janie, and they were there, and Janie was saying, you know, Matthew walked around all that way to speak on all those television, you know, channels in all those countries, and she was like, what an attention-seeking cunt. You might need to bleep that out.
Yeah, this is America.
Yeah, we might get we might have the bird say it.
Sorry, but I love that, yeah.
So what would you like to do next? I mean, because actually that's a thing where you go, right, okay, second act is what? What if you could do anything now, if you could affect any kind of change now, what would it be?
There's, having been to all these other countries, I know it's weird, right, but I've said that there's nothing fortunate about being sexually abused, but I realised, having been to all these countries, I was quite fortunate to be sexually abused in Scotland, because we have a police force they know they're not perfect, and they're actively trying to be better at dealing with this. We've also got no legislation that stops you pressing charges, and we've got incredible organisations like the Moira Anderson Foundation who are there at the end of the phone to help people through the legal process and the counselling process. Most kids in Europe, sadly, don't have any of those things, and they're still being abused, and they will continue to be abused until things change. So if I can bring the Council of Europe's called the 1 in 5 campaign, and the Council of Europe were there when I walked the last mile. I want to bring that into Scotland for the kids there, because it's really simple training. We have a book called Kiko in the Hand, and all it does is teach kids, infants, like how to communicate with their parents about something difficult. It doesn't teach the kid about sexual abuse. It doesn't give them any context of anything sexual. It just opens up the dialogue about how to communicate with your child on such a sensitive and kind of intimate problem. And it also teaches the parents what the steps are to take if your child discloses something, you know. Yeah. So that stuff is literally sitting in the warehouse in Strasbourg and should be used in all schools and all kind of local authorities in Scotland, and it's not because of Westminster. It's this thing called the Lanzarote Convention, which was signed by Tony Blair's government in 2007, and Cameron's cabinet are dragging their heels for political kind of high-level bureaucry bullshit is stopping these materials getting to our kids. So we don't need to wait for Westminster to get on with it. You know, I did say to the First Minister, we need to ratify that convention. And I think, you know, a bit political, if we were independent, I think we would have ratified by now, but we haven't. So
I also think, you know what, see if it was a book about a banker being able to say I'm being abused by people, they'd be like, oh yes, don't abuse the bankers. But it's kids, do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like their kids don't have the money, and
kids don't have a voice, you know. Yeah. Like, you look at the United States in the past 100 years, my friend Randa Fox was talking about this, like in the past century in this country, there's been the women's rights movement to get the vote, you know, and then there was the civil rights movement for the black and white equality, and after that there was the gay rights movement. And it all centres around a big, powerful march. There's never been a march for kids' rights. And yet, every 30 seconds, another kid is abused. Every fifth kid born in the country will be abused at some point before their 18th birthday. And kids don't have the wherewithal to stand up for their rights. The other thing Americans don't realise is that United States and Somalia are the only two countries who did not sign the UN Rights to the Child Convention. In 1989, every country said, these are the basic human rights of children, we're going to uphold them. And the countries that haven't signed it yet 25 years later is the United States and Somalia. And I've got a friend whose sister, she was a journalist for the BBC, and she was shot dead in Somalia. reporting for BBC, and it's an unstable country with corruption and literally piracy. You know, there's pirates kicking about, but that country and the United States have not signed this convention. Why is that? You know, and America they created a treaty on child sex trafficking and child pornography, because those two things are big business for whoever's involved in those things. Yeah. Sadly, it's a big industry. So the American government were really fast to move on creating legislation on these two areas of child protection that make money. So they legislated for that, but they're not moving very fast on upholding the rights of your children.
Is there anything, because I know that will incense people that are watching, what can they do about it?
You can petition your government to sign the UN Rights of the Child Convention. Because
right.
I went to all the governments in Europe and I said, look, the statute of limitations as you have it contradicts 8 articles in the UN Rights of the Child Convention that your country signed 25 years ago. So when are you going to uphold this treaty you agreed to in the 80s? And that was really all I had to say. That argument won't work here in America. We're talking about, the reason I was in Texas is to talk about Road to Change US, which will be different. It won't be me walking to every single capital city. It will be slightly formed differently but bigger. And so we're talking about that for 2016. But the central argument that I had that I could take to governments and say you're in contravention of your own treaty by not upholding this. I can't even begin with that argument here because the country hasn't signed this UN treaty. If you followed that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You can't say you've not upholded because you haven't even signed it.
So you haven't got that argument. All you can do is make the public aware that the kids here don't have the same rights. And you know, in the United States, 50,000 kids every year are given into the custody of their offender because of the rights situation here. You know, and I mean, I love the United States. I don't want to come over here and bash it.
I do love it.
I love it. I love New York on my arm.
What you do? So you do.
I know, right? And I'd love to raise my kids in America. But I just realised that, you know, there's still got a long way to go with a lot of child protection issues. But my focus right now is Scotland, to bring in those standards for our kids, and Strasbourg, because that's the central hub of all 47 governments. And hopefully, if the presentation goes well in June that I'm giving, we could, you know, the Road to Change could have catalysed a political or legislative reform across all 47 countries, and that's 820 million people. It would be pretty cool.
Is there a way, honey, that people can support you? Because what we can do here is very technical. He may be naked, but he's technical, yeah. Which is that I don't know why, but there you go. It's like we can put little button boxes there, and so we can go straight to other websites or things or places. Have you got a website that people can go to?
You can still see the Road to Change website, Road to Change EU. You can learn about the Road to Change Europe that we did. I would say the best way to help is, you know, like Gandhi said, be the change. We were talking about this earlier, Anna. Be the change you want to see in the world. So if you've got kids, what are you doing to make sure that your child isn't the 1 in 5? You know, are you talking to your kids about this? And if you're not sure how to talk to your kids about it, you can get excellent books that already exist. Like there's one called My Body Belongs to Me. You can get that on Amazon and just read it as a storybook with your kids. Or the Kiko in the Hand, you can order that. Or go into your school and say, what is our child protection policy? What strategies do we have in place? You know, you don't have to wait for the government to fix this. It's up to everyone to change this, you know.
You know, interestingly, we had a thing when we came over here and our kids had the paediatrician was checking them over. He's a fantastic paediatrician. We really landed on our feet. And one of the things that he did was, like, when he was checking all the kids out, he made sure that, you know, we were there, and he said, right, okay, so who's allowed to touch you here? And they were like, what? And he said, who's allowed to touch you here? And they went, I don't know. And he said, nobody is allowed to touch you here unless, you know, your mom or your dad or whatever, you know, nobody's allowed to touch you there. And it was like a really cool thing because they hadn't even thought about it. They had no idea, but they had a thing. Like my youngest, I guess, was maybe like 5, and he was like, don't you touch me. Don't anybody. Like he was announcing it, like no, because they like got to a thing, you know, like 5-year-olds have a level of power but they don't have a lot of power. You're like, oh, I have power. Yeah. Nobody's allowed to touch me. Nobody, you understand? So I think that thing of allowing your, you know, the thing of starting at home really is true.
And people get defensive if you say, you know, to stop child sexual abuse, we all have to change our behaviour. And people instantly go, well, I'm not abusing kids, I don't need to change. And you go, well, no. Like, Jimmy Savile abused so many kids. Yeah. But what shocks me about that situation is the amount of people who knew about it and did nothing. And
what would you do about it? I'm checking, you know what, I might end up not even bothering with the timer, I have to say, because we've got 1 minute 13 and I'm in the conversation. Because here's my thing about it, right? Because it's difficult, because you can have suspicions about what someone else is up to, right? But then it's difficult because, you know, there is how do you deal with that? What would you do in that situation if you go, you know, there's something not quite right about that? It doesn't seem right.
One of the most powerful things in humanity is a mother's intuition. Yeah. Mums just know sometimes. Yeah. They have this deep knowingness and they don't know where they get. If you get a bad feeling about someone, and in the past, people would find any excuse to dismiss that feeling other than that, you know, and sadly, sometimes it is something weird has happened. And what we need to change as a society is to point fingers and ask questions, you know, and if the answers start coming back and it's frightening you, then just realise you're surrounded by support. In the United States, there's so many organisations here ready to help you, and it can be sensitively and quietly dealt with. But, you know, it's like cancer, it's not going to go away. No. You know, so ask the questions, open up lines of communication in your house, make sure that, you know, there's nothing your kids can't come and talk to you about. Yeah, and I guess when it's an adjustment, especially as Scottish people, we're not really amazing. Like, we don't have a history of being brilliant at talking about difficult stuff. But
look at that! Blinking it, you were saved, man. Woohoo. Do you know what I'm going to do though? Because I think that was awesome. I think it's all very well you come here with your worthy causes, but I have a worthy cause that I need you to sort out. Okay. I am trying to clear out the house, right? Okay. And we have this whole load of vinyl records. Okay. And he wants me... I know you've walked across Europe and everything, but you're not done. Okay. Right? He wants me to clear out these records from the house, and I've said, well, I'm not clearing them out unless they're voted out by the people that
are here. You're not going to mention the fact that we don't actually have anything to play them on.
We don't have anything to play them on, but they're works of art, right?
You're going to ask me about vinyl.
That's what I'm going to ask you about.
I wish this is where Tom Ury, he's the vinyl connoisseur.
Do you know what? One day, if we were more tech... Right, hand them in then. If we were more tech savvy...
You're definitely going to get rid of this.
No, it's not. You're Scottish, you have to get rid of this one. You and I are new friends.
Neil Sedaka.
Awesome, right?
What a handsome man.
He is.
Oh, Carol.
See? And I like how in this album he has a lot of hair at the sides. Not so much in the top, but a lot at the sides.
And you couldn't part with this.
Exactly, Matty. I knew I loved you. I knew I loved him.
I mean, I'm going to start putting bids on that.
Yeah, well, you're not getting them though.
Yeah, you can get the rest. Right, okay. Now that you're not on my side.
So, Carol.
Jim Reeves.
Jim Reeves, you know that, Jim Reeves?
No.
Put your sweet lips
He'll have to go.
He'll have to go.
He'll have to go.
He'll have to go, yeah.
He has to go.
Oh, no, he doesn't have to go.
Boney M.
Oh, yeah.
Boney M. You've got to keep Boney M, man.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Is Boney M known in America? Do you know who Boney M is?
He's too young for
Boney M. Yeah. Like, what are their songs here?
I'm not familiar.
Rasputin.
Rasputin. Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen.
Let's hear you.
Hey, can you do a link to Boney M?
Brown girl in the ring.
Sha la 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 la.
Brown girl in the ring.
Sha la 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 la.
Okay, cool. Keep that. That can, you know, I don't want that. Good thing.
They're staying. Country.
Country scene. 20 classic tracks.
20. I don't know. Do you like the country music?
Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I used to do a lot of folk stuff. And
did you?
Yeah. When you were younger.
You are younger.
No, when I was 15, Horse covered a song that I wrote. I won it, and Tom Ury was in the band. It was at the Royal Concert Hall.
Oh my God.
That's the first time I met Tommy, yeah. But I used to do kind of Celtic Connections-y stuff, you know. I've not heard of any of these people, I'm sorry.
Dr. Hook? You've heard of Glenn Campbell, right?
No, Dr. Hook. That's
Dr.
not
Hook.
Aqua.
Who's gonna wash my shirts? That's it. You know Dr. Hook, don't you?
I'm thinking.
Dr. Hook.
Doctor Who?
Yeah, not Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Dr. Hook. Crystal Gale. You know Crystal Gale? Don't it make my brown eyes blue?
Looking for Hue and Cry.
Hue and Cry.
You cannot part with this. This is amazing.
I'm not parting with any of them, frankly.
Has it got Labour of Love?
No, Maddie, you're awesome at many things, and I am holding you in great esteem for what you've been doing with your campaign and everything. But when it comes to music, you're rubbish.
I know, sorry.
Totally rubbish.
Was something viral? Because when did they stop doing viral?
I don't know.
They're doing it back. It's like replicas.
When's this made?
It's Hue and Cry with her.
Too young.
I can't read that. Can you read that?
1988. I was
1988. He was 5 when this came out.
Back to the Future.
Yeah. What about Boney M? Do you know? I want you to look at.
Jim Reeves was. I saw the top that says mono.
Boney M. I think I was 78 or something. 78.
Wow.
78. And you know what's going to surprise you? It's going to shock you. That apparently they didn't even sing.
Oh yeah, it was a German guy.
Apparently it was miming. They were Can you believe that?
Yeah, you hear it in the Christmas
song.
No
honesty in the music industry. Can you believe that? Anyway, they're all staying, including
the gorgeous. Yeah.
Anyway, so where are you heading next? Because you're just in for a cup of tea, right?
Yeah, we're going. Where are we going?
You're going to somebody else's for dinner.
Going to somebody's for dinner in LA.
I gave them tea. Show them your mug. Chesney Hawks.
The one and only.
He's got a Chesney Hawks
Chesney.
mug because Chesney is everywhere. Right, so it beeped a good old about 10 minutes ago. So, because normally I only do 20 minutes. The reason being because, I probably should have told you this at the beginning, is that I have my best conversations like before I have to go and pick up my kids from school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realised that I would do my conversations and I'd time them and then I'd go pick up the kids from school. But technically, we're on spring break, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, you've been lovely. Anything you want to add before we sign out?
Just, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Bless you.
What a wee sweetie, eh? What a wee sweetie. Anyway, this has been actually it's been like 35 minutes till pick up, which isn't happening because it's spring break. This is Matthew McVarish, and there are a whole load of places that you can help. What's that thing that they want to petition for?
The UN Rights to the Child Convention, get it signed.
Yeah, UN Rights to the Child Convention, let's get it signed. Thanks very much and see you again. Oh, so if you want to ask a question, I can't guarantee we'll answer it, but I'll try. You could tweet me a question at Lynn Fairgate, or you can make a comment if you're watching this on the video. And oh, you know what would be awesome? Can you share this? Thanks. All right, see you later.